Okay, welcome to part 2 of putting this roof on. If you remember, last time we did the other side, still haven't done the bottom bit, so I've left that to show you this time. So we're going to work down this side of the roof and finish the other side of the roof and do the apexes. Similar to the last video 1 of this. If we just lay that on there, what I've done there is put a pencil line there and there, so I can just cut the roof off exactly where I want it, which is what I'm going to do now. A little bit of a tile of some description, just something to rest on. Nice straight cut right in the middle of a tile. That's where I always put my marks. 3 good cuts should do it. Off, turn around. This side's always a bit funny because you're going against the tiles with leaning up. In the same groove before, should be fine. Pop it on there, same as normal, a little bit of filing, a bit of a rough file, nice flat edge across the bottom, it already is, it's pretty good anyway. Take any dash off, you remember we were doing a chamfer. So we sit up against this edge here. So if we just chamfer it off, always run your file sideways. You've lots less chance of breaking anything that way. I've broken plenty of pieces in the past. Just put a chamfer on everything, as we did in the last video. Remember, if anybody's watching this and it's the first video you've seen, there's 2 more before it. There's one showing you how to do your casts using what I call Tuff Cast. Always a good idea to get lots and lots of pieces ready ahead of time. If I show you that, you should be able to see that's a pretty straight edge. And what we'll do is, when we've glued it on, we'll just run a line of glue in there, and that'll seal it, and the paint will cover it up when it's gone clear. Just thought I'd mention, we're using woodwork adhesive. I use a waterproof one. It dries faster, it's a lot thicker than the cheap stuff you can get, and it just works a lot better. Your choice, of course. And then what we're going to do is fasten that on like we did last time. An interesting bit's going to be when we come further down. So again, I'm leaning this upwards, just so when I put it on, it doesn't try and slide down the roof. Plenty of glue here, even more in the middle sections, because it'll just run either side. And just slip that roughly into place where you want it. Make sure your line at the top is as close as you can get it, and leave that to dry. We left off last time where we made this long strip here to go across there. Okay, if we offer that up, I don't know if you can quite see that, there's a few little gaps here and there, it's not too bad. Okay, what you need to do is make sure the tiles are offset so they're in the right place. Mark where you're going to cut the edges off. And then just trim those pieces off. Sharp knife, use a bit of a scraping rather than a cutting, so not too far down with your blade. Tidy all the edges up afterwards. I just do this by eye, don't really mess around with rulers or anything at this stage. Do that later. Those pieces, and sit that up there. And then all you've got to really do is just have a look where your highs and lows are. Use a bit of a pencil. Just mark your pieces where you might want to trim out a bit. So mainly that bit there. So what I'm going to do is just quite a coarse file, not as small. Just take some of those edges off. I do it slightly chamfered away from the edge, so that you sort of create a sharper edge on that top, but not too much, on a little bit. Just take the thatch off of there. Sideways again, so you don't get a scraping and break anything. And just get till you're happy with the content. You can fill in with a little bit of PVA glue, which will go clear when it's dry, but the paint will cover that up if you get any tiny little gaps, so that's fine. Just get it until you're quite happy with it, not too far away, just a little bit more there, same place. You can do this 5 or 10 minutes if you need to be, till you get it right. Got a bit of a high spot just there on the flat, so I'm just taking that corner away. This is where the supports are, bit there as well. Into all this trouble, you might as well take a little bit of time now to get it as close to right as you can. I still feel like I've got a little bit of a wobble on there. Too bad. Fairly good. Do me. Okay. Glue across the top edge. Some down here, put plenty on there. Off it up to where you want it, and then you're going to have to tilt it back. So you get it just where you want it. I'll leave that set and we'll tidy these bits up slightly afterwards. Okay. Okay, so that's been set for a little while. We can start tidying up all these sides and filing down later on. I have to get everything finished first, and it's just a tidying up before we go into the painting. Okay, so the front of the building. This is what you've all been waiting for. This is the bit that can be a little bit difficult. Okay, a couple of pointers here. These apexes on this side are going to have a roof there and there, so the top point is going to be there-ish, which means that when we put the little bit of roof in here, it doesn't really matter if there's a joint there because you're not going to see it, because that apex is going to cover it. Same with that one, so you can just sort of put a couple of little pencil marks there, and now you can take it in sections. We're going to build this left section first, then this one, and we're going to work our way across. It's going to take a little while to do this, so I'm going to try and skip through. What I've done is I've got two pieces, a normal roof piece and a half piece, and I've put them together sideways like that, which is glued here on the table like we did in the last video, just in twos. That's still drying at the moment, and what I'm going to do is drop that in there and just do this top little corner first, and then wherever that little line is there, I'm going to just cut that off. Yeah, cut these little lugs off, and then this is just a little piece, which is fairly straightforward. So I'm just going to wait for that to dry and we'll move on. Okay, let's move on a little bit further on this corner here. Okay, there's the two pieces I glued together earlier. I'm just going to offer those up. I mean, first thing to do is take these two little lugs off. Quite easy really. Slide across with a knife. Just a little scoring thing. And it should break off, no problem at all. So it gives us that section. If I hold that up, I can sort of see that I'm about one brick too high. Yeah. Now I can do a number of things. I can either take it off the bottom or take it off the top. Seems easier to take it off the top because I'm already sort of fitting in there. So all I'm going to do is take that top line of tiles off. Three nice cuts straight in that groove there, and that should just about do it. Okay, I'm a million miles away. I need to flatten that off with a file. What's the file? Nice and flat across the entire edge. A little bit of a sort of chamfer, as we said before. File it till it's pretty flat. And start working it in. Okay, so there's quite a bit to come off it to get it all the way in there. We don't want to take too much off, otherwise we're going to have a thin tile. So I'm going to take some off this little bit here. Chamfer this in a bit. This can be chamfered right in if we want. Sit in this against this piece here. So you can see this is quite a time consuming job, but that's what the hobby's about really. Stone built, gorgeous little buildings. Okay, just square that edge off. You can see this okay. Try and do it so I'm facing camera. It would be easier if I didn't have to face the video. That's okay. Just keep working across it. Let's see how we're going. It's not a million miles away. You remember the pencil line I put on earlier, which is the middle of the apex? Well, trust me, best place to do is cut it off. So, okay, I think quite go straight, that's fine. Pressed a bit too hard there. Just square it up. And we'll just get a nice square joint in there. And it'll be covered by the apex of the roof anyway. So, that's fine. Let's take a bit off of here, just let it go back in a bit. So trying to get through this so the video is not too long. needs a bit off there. There's a bit more off there. It's really you sort of get the picture now. Getting where we want to be. Tiles are in the right place, etc. So that corner. We're interested in a nice snug fit down this wall here. That's quite important. That's not bad now. It's not bad at all. And obviously I want to come off down this side. It's quite a small piece by the time we've finished. Just a bit of flash at the top of that. Just going to use a bit off there so it sits in properly. There we go. Perfect. Okay, glue that in all the way across the top. And these little edges here in the corner. Can't get in there. And just align that up. Bit of adjustment there, so you get it where you want to be, and then just let it dry. The next piece here is going to be an absolute doddle, 2 seconds to do that one. The next piece is going to be a pain after that. A minute. So this one's quite easy, pretty good on length as well, not very good on them edges. I'll just get another one. Okay, so off with the lugs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one came off. In the bin. Straighten up the edge. Always watch for your tiles. I mean, I knew that those tiles would line up, but it should be offset everywhere, so they are. Okay, it's a little bit long. I want to take one off the bottom into the ridge of the tile. Couple of scrapes. Come off. That's about right. 1, 1.5, maybe even 2 hanging over, but not much more than that. Okay. Pencil mark there. You can see the little ridges. You're always generally cutting down the ridges of a tile, so that's why I don't need the ruler, because I'm following those. And that's pretty much there. Okay, so that was much easier across the top. All the way around here. That's good there, so that's okay. Loose section. Just get rid of that excess glue. Okay, let that sit there. Don't worry about this edge. We'll sort all this edge out after. Just trying to get the whole thing done. Okay, pause there. What I've done here is I've glued another 2 pieces the other way. And I'm going to do this side here now. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to fasten another one onto there. Because if you look at that, in fact I'll do it. I'll cut the lugs off there. Or on this section. And while it's dry. On that one. That corner there. Square that up thereabouts. Not too exact at this moment. It's quite easy to bust a piece and then you end up starting again, so this is not quite going to fit all the way across, which is an absolute pain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue another piece in there, yeah, and I'm going to make a T section then that goes across. Okay, and we'll just trim this off, so these will just end up with little tiny lugs in there and then a nice long piece like that, so end up with a T. So I'm going to go ahead and glue some other pieces together. Now